the evil ghost in the bedroom, fighting to take possession of this beautiful girl. You'll feel all the thrills and chills of seeing one ghost multiplied by the magic number 13.
Some houses, like Hill House, are born bad.
He'll change your face beyond recognition, but your soul he'll enslave for all time. Remember, he alone will know the secrets of your evil past, and never will he let you escape.
Hugo, she said you were ugly.
Father, mother, sister, brother. You'll be scared stiff too when you see what they see.
Budeme mít golema i bez tvé pomoci.
Goleme, pokloň se.
Stop it! God. God. Whose hand was I holding?
The day of the Triffids, when destruction closes in from every side.
Pilot, is he blind too?
Blind?
Listen to those screams, they're eating him alive.
How many of us take seriously the things we cannot or do not want to understand, simply because we are afraid?
Doesn't seem to have any central nervous system.
Then how does it move?
All plants move. They don't usually pull themselves out of the ground and chase you.
Most unusual suspense thriller. But for maximum shock, see it from the beginning. Devil Dog.
Carla! I am waiting for Carla, Mr. Heights.
Oh, there you are. Good Lord. Good evening, freaks and fiends. Welcome to the Horror Mike Show. Well, there were a few technical difficulties, but I think we've overcome those. And hey, who knows? Hey, look, last Friday was Friday the 13th. If any bad shit was going to go down, it was going to be last Friday. But then again, Friday the 20th could be the new one. Okay. Friday the 20th is the new Friday the 13th, folks. That's what I'm trying to say to you right now, my good fiends. Well, you just saw a trailer compilation for a whole bunch of really great 1960s films, including The Gorgon, 13 Ghosts, The Sadist, Day of the Triffids. Oh, what a classic from the 1960s, and others that we will definitely be looking at tonight, as well as some artifacts. Oh, yes, some real stuff from the 1960s that Horror Mike has handy. And he's going to be showing you guys tonight. I think you're going to want to see this stuff. It's rather fascinating indeed. All right, folks, look. Yeah, the first thing that you saw, if you came in early, if you were on time, you would have seen my trailer for Witch Tales, the film that I made, shot entirely in the country of Peru in 2 languages. There are 2 versions of the film, one in Spanish with English subtitles and one in English language. You saw the English language trailer, and I want to direct your attention now to the Amazon Prime page and my film Witch Tales, which you can rent on Amazon. Now, I'm starting to, of course, to bring this up more because we're in Halloween season. Witch Tales takes place on Halloween night. It was adapted from different pre-code horror stories from the 1950s. And so there you go, folks. It is Witch Tales. And I did drop that link in the chat. Let me take a look here. Yep, there it is. There you are, folks. That is the link to rent Witch Tales, my film, made in Hecho en el Peru, mis amigos de terror. Okay, that's what I'm saying right now. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on with that, my good fiends. Witch Tales. And I want to bring a couple of things to your attention. I'm going to get a couple of news things out of the way, rather important news items, folks, okay? They are rather important. First, I got to get over to the YouTube channel here. There we go. All right, now, let's see, make sure we're there. Yep, we are. And, yeah, so what I want to point out to you guys is, God, I hope that's true. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Yeah, so what I did, I've been hounded by YouTube. They keep bugging me every month. They're like, are you going to add a membership thing to your channel? And I'm like, what? What the hell is that? So I finally did it, folks. And this is the breakdown of it. It's pretty cool. It's just one of those things that I hadn't gotten around to, but I think you see that on the, yeah, there it is. Okay, thank God. It's showing up. So it's one of those things, you know what the deal is. You know, every channel, monetized channel's got this, you know, you can join the channel. And I've got mine set at the lowest they had, which was $2.99 a month. And of course, I made my own terrorific loyalty badges, which you see on the thing here. Of course, they're pretty small. And of course, then the custom emojis, right? So if you become a member to the Horror Mike Extravaganza, then you will have these access to these the custom emojis and loyalty badges. And also photos and status updates, which you will get. And I believe those appear on the community page on YouTube. And so members will see those and they'll get notified of them. Now, as you guys know, before last week, before the Friday the 13th show, that Friday before, there was no live show. And you want to know why? Well, that's because Horror Mike was off on a mission. Oh, yes, folks. I traveled all around Florida for 4 days, and I am making 2 more documentary films that I think you're going to be incredibly interested in. Let's put it that way, and I will tell you this right now. Nobody has made these documentary films before. Okay, these are new things. They definitely apply to both horror films, sci-fi horror films, and to literature, horror literature. And they're both quite novel concepts. And it just so happens that they're rooted here in the state of Florida. So I shot a ton of footage. It's going to be months before these documentaries are done. It's much like in the vein of Haunted Thrills. If you've watched my film Haunted Thrills, short documentary. They'll be like 20, 25 minutes long each. Then, of course, next year they'll hit the film festival circuit and so forth. But I will have photos and video clips for members. So that's going to be coming up in the month of October. So if you're a member, you'll be able to see some stuff that nobody else has seen previously. And then, of course, last but not least, the Terror Tier salutations. If you sign up, I will give you a terrorizing salutation, apparently. Hey, look, I'm just reading what these guys have, right? These are the things that I put into the this membership deal. So there it is. If you click to join, you can join the Horror Mike channel. And of course, you can cancel at any time. Okay. Just never cancel. Lord. So there's one thing right there. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I think that's a nice deal there. The other thing is this, folks. And this is not, it's just kind of, it's not great news, but it's real. It's the reality of what's going on now. I am no longer directly sending anything internationally. Okay. No more. Not going to happen. Indirectly, yes. For example, if I get a sale on eBay, it's international. I will send that because eBay handles the international shipping, right? If there's a problem with international shipping, it's resolved through eBay. If I send something internationally or pay for something to receive internationally, I'm fucked. Okay, that's basically if something goes wrong, and they have a few times now, and I've had it. Okay. This brings me to my former sponsor, no longer, unfortunately. That was Too Many Comics and Magazines.com. I'm sure you guys remember that. The last shipment I was supposed to get from the guy never came. He finally went to French Customs, and they lost it. They just simply lost the shipment. And I was like, screw that. I'm not going to advertise this thing for people if they're going to order stuff and never get it. For Christ's sake. So I dropped that sponsor. And remember it was for 8-Bit Snake Boy. It was one of the winners of the Mark of the Devil vomit bags. I sent his directly through international mail. Guess what? Got lost. I lost my money. That was it. Right. And it was eventually returned to me. So what I did is I asked him if he knew somebody in the United States that I could send it to. Then they might try to send it to him internationally. That's how it went. So I sent it to a person they know here in the States. And that's that. I'm done with it. That's it. There are issues that have developed with international shipping. And I'm not going to be any part of that until they get their shit together. That's really it. That's, get your shit together on all ends. Global Post, USPS, whatever the hell. Get it together because if the longer you let this stuff, rot, basically, the worse it's going to get. So that's the news on that, folks. It's no more direct international. So in the future, if I have some kind of a contest or something, international people can still play. They just need a U.S. person that I can send that thing to if they win, right? And then they can send it to you or whatever. But that's the name of that tune, my good fiends. Let's go over to the chat, shall we? Before we dive into the 1960s finale, folks. Good Lord. Okay, there's a lot of chattage, a lot of people yakking. I see there's a lot of people yakking tonight. I Am One of Us is here. Hello, I Am One of Us. Good to see you, my good man. Thomas Fairfall is here. Good to see you, sir. There, once again, folks, that is the link for Witch Tales on Amazon. Apex Comics is here. Hello, Apex. Eric Boyd is here. Hello, Eric Boyd. Dave James is here. Hello, Dave James. Good to see you, my good man. Do 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 do. William Castle in the house. The Sadist meets the Triffids. Dave James watched At the Earth's Core last night, another Carolyn Monroe classic, and that damn thing was close to being in 3D with Carolyn Monroe. And, you know what I'm talking about, and I think that you do on that. It's the Gorgon. You slorgan. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, Fred. Oh, K. Ojo's here. Hello, K. Ojo. I see you there. I see you there. Steve Harrison is here. 8-Bit Snake Boy is here. Got them, got that, got that, got that. Well, could be, Steve Harrison. Could be. Could be, 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 could be. KO, just speaking of Florida, Zola is a good non-horror movie based on true events. Haunted Thrills is great. Thank you, Apex. I appreciate that, my good man. 8-Bit says, I watched At the Earth's Core semi-regularly, as it's one of the several movies I have on my phone. And the French dropped the ball. Well, apparently. Also bad, yeah, it's bad with the UK as well. I'm sad to report. I did wonder what you were up to that weekend, Horror Mike. Ah, yes. Boy, that was a 500-mile excursion, folks. Horror Mike was jamming. And there were 4 major locations, okay? And a few minor locations. Unfreaking believable, okay? Florida is just an insane state. It is absolutely. And places I'd actually, my route took me through places I'd already been to, but then beyond, my good fiends, beyond. It's hard to believe. Radamus is here. Hello, Radamus. Sorry, Mike, I'm missing the show, but I'm at a baseball game tonight. Go Mets. 8-Bit says, if it's FedEx, I'm not very surprised. They are a nightmare. Yeah, I don't deal with FedEx personally, as far as like actually doing stuff. What was that? Getting drunk at Sister's Bash. Okay, great. Groovy dudes. All right, let me get rid of this. There we go. All right, first, before we dive into the flicks, folks, guess what? I've got the artifacts. Oh, yes, I've got artifacts from the 1960s. First, kind of unusual artifact, but it's right in there. There's no doubt about that. It fits right into the genres. Your sci-fi, your horror, your fantasy, your comedy. And I'm talking about a little audio disc of none other than Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, Freak Out. Missing the actual case, unfortunately. But this is 1966, folks, from Frank Zappa and the Mothers. And it's a hell of Hell of an album, referred to in many places as a kind of concept album, possibly, I guess. But it's one hell of a disc. Check it out if you ever get a chance. It's it's Frank Zappa rocking and rolling. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right there. So a little bit of 60s audio for you. But now let's get to some magazines and a little bit of comic book action here. I'm going to present right now to you 3 number ones. Okay, 3 number ones, folks. Coming up. First up, we got Myron Foss's Weird, number 1 from January of 1966. And this, of course, is Eerie Publications. This kicked off Eerie Publications in 1966. And it is, let me show you. Of course, as you probably know, it's all reprints of 1950s pre-code horror, sci-fi and horror comics, right? And it's in great shape. Love it. I love Eerie Publications, of course. That's just beautiful. Coward's Curse. God, what a great splash page. Right there. Nice stuff. So I've got we'll see a few more of these, but I'm doing a series of number 1s right now from the 1960s, so had to do that one. You know what's coming, don't you? You know what's coming, don't you? My good fiends. Yeah, it's creepy number 1. Right there. Comics to give you the creeps. Creepy number 1 with that freaking amazing Jack Davis cover. Hilarious Jack Davis cover. Love it. Just some of the great stuff. Of course, it's creepy number 1. For Christ's sake. God. You've got Frank Frazetta doing stories for early creepy and eerie. I mean, this stuff is just A1, folks. It's freaking A1. It's also in fantastic shape, too. So, there goes creepy number 1. Now, people will argue. You can argue all you want, but this is really actually eerie number 1, folks. Of course, they came out with the ash can. In reality, to beat Myron Foss to the punch. Because he wanted to also put out Eerie magazine. And Warren was just a little too fast for Myron Foss, and they put out the ash can for Eerie number 1, which is a little magazine like this tall, yay tall, in black and white, incredibly expensive, very rare. But this was the official first issue of Eerie, even though, of course, it does say Eerie number 2, but this was the first one that came out on the newsstands. And it's fantastic, of course. Great freaking Frank Frazetta cover on that. And once again, in really great shape. All of the stuff, of course. My God. Yeah. I mean, Creepy had already been out for a little while, so there's Creepy. Of course, there's the classic ads for films, Super 8 millimeter films that you could get. Absolutely fantastic. Just great stuff, folks. Some groovy stuff, groovy stories in these as well. Fantastic splash pages, etc., etc. So there you go. That is what I refer to really as Eerie #1 for us, for us commoners. Okay. I mean, if you got the bread, if you got the scratch, if you got the cheddar for the Ashcan edition, well, more power to you. Okay. But I mean, come on, man. Here we go. Here's some good stuff, folks. Holy Toledo. Going to films. Yes, it's The Horror of Party Beach, the Fumetti. Look at that beauty. That is just so classic right there, man. I got to put my glasses on now. Fucking hell. Losing my eyesight and all that shit. 1964. I thought it was 65, but 1964. Some action right there. Let's get into the middle of it. As the monsters are attacking the slumber party, the girls' slumber party, folks. Look at that guy. Hilarious. That is hilarious. So there you go. Horror Party Beach, 1964. Fumetti. It's the Fumetti by Good Fiends. Another film-oriented one. Now, I've shown you guys this before. But I'm going to show it to you again because it's really great. Now, this one's well-worn. I've had this for many moons. This is, of course, the classic 1960s do-it-yourself monster makeup handbook from Famous Monsters. Oh, yeah. And I've used it. I've done a few makeups. Well, here's the one. Here's the main makeups on the back that you could do. Really cool. Of course, it's Dick Smith showing you how, and everything pretty much from simple stuff to rather complicated makeups. It is just fantastic. Highly recommended. I think there's even a video. Matter of fact, there is a video that's kind of I don't know, it's a complimentary video. It's not exactly this, but it's close. And it's fantastic. Very, very good. Very good for some makeup and effects and all that garbage. For Christ's sake. Now this thing is just... Okay, there you go. Thank you. Maybe not. All right. Now we're gonna flip back to some comics oriented stuff. I gotta check this. God, I've got this thing double bagged, folks. Okay. Holy crap. Oh. It's Star-Studded Comics from 1963-ish. I want to make sure that's correct, though. That can't be. Hold on. No, that's 1963 is when they started it. No, it's 1969. All right, so this is 1969. As you can see, it's Dr. Weird. Dr. Weird on the cover right there, fighting some kind of a deranged panther on the cover there, as rendered by Mr. Keltner, who invented Dr. Weird. And of course, the magazine was put out, the brainchild of Buddy Saunders, that is Lone Star Comics. My Comic Shop. You guys probably may have bought some stuff from My Comic Shop before. Also, Grass Green is involved with this. There's a couple of people involved with it. The Texas Trio. Yeah, Larry. Well, there's three main guys. That was, of course, Howard Keltner, Larry Herndon, Buddy Saunders, and I know Grass Green is another gentleman that helped them with this publication. But it's pretty damn cool, actually. First, you got imagine this is late 60s, folks. This is the Southwestern Comic Con in the late 60s. They got all kinds of photos from it. Pretty damn cool. And of course, various comic book stories. Let me just get something here that there's Dr. Weird. Larry Herndon. Story by Larry Herndon. Art by Rudy Franke. Right there. Very cool stuff. Kind of psychedelic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Psychedelic. Pretty cool stuff. There you go, folks. That is Star-Studded number 16 from 1969. And I believe, Star-Studded Comics was the first fan publication that was ever published in color. And that, of course, they began in 1963. They were the first one. Believe it or don't. Believe it or not, folks. Now, here's just some quickies. Some more eerie publications. Some of these great. This is May 1969 issue of Tales of Voodoo. Weird guy wearing a fez there. He's putting the kibosh on some kind of a voluptuous vampire woman. And another vampire woman is coming in to, I don't know what. You never know with these covers. They're just totally insane. And usually kind of gory like this one. This is July 1969. Terror Tales. I don't know what the hell's going on. You've got these women that are tied up and they're kind of in the background, and this monster that's, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's ripping out his own heart. Best left unsolved, really. Yeah, that's what I'm saying right now. Once again, with more fabulous black and white reprints of pre-code 1950s sci-fi and horror comics. And one more with my favorite cover, folks. Oh, I got two more. I got two. Okay, all right, here. This is another issue of Weird from October of 1968. I've shown you this before, but it's just too good to leave out. Okay, so here we have a scene where Frankenstein's got hold of this woman, and apparently the werewolf creature has ripped her legs off, and he's munching on the legs, right? As Dracula's kind of jogging in the background. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but you'll notice the look on her face is rather one of, she's kind of indignant about the whole thing, as opposed to like screaming and, complete horror and pain and perhaps being passed out. She's just kind of pissed off that the wolf creature has just ripped off her lower legs. So there you go, right there. Issue of Weird from October of 1968. And one more, folks, and it's gotta be, I gotta end this whole thing with Tales of Voodoo. July of 1969. It's another great cover. I mean, now what the hell is going on here? All right, so we've got apparently the vampire guy in the background. He's just gotten out of his coffin. He's ripped off his own head, and he's throwing his own head at the vampire woman who is holding a heart, and she's maybe just chopped it out of some victim's chest. I don't know, but somebody signed that guy up for the Mets. Radames, you may want to let the Mets know. They could have a relief pitcher anyways with this guy. So those are the wacky covers of some of the Eerie publications from the 1960s. Eerie publications remained popular through the 70s, even in the 80s. You know, I want to say like late 80s, it stopped. You know, it lasted 66, at least 20 years, if not more, you know. But its heyday was the 60s and 70s. There's no doubt about that. And it was a hell of a great magazine, folks. And that's how they skirted the Comics Code Authority. Because, of course, with magazine size publications, they're not comic books. They're technically illustrated magazines. So in the 1960s, they're just like, hey, yeah, we'll just print all the stuff that they were saying was banned, you know, that we couldn't print and get distributed because of the Comics Code Authority. And that's how they got around it. Fine issues, folks. Fine issues. That, God. Yeah, there's quite a few. All right. Let's just kind of leave that there. Let's get back to the chat. I know we got a few people. I see Wayne Butler is here. Oh, okay, you spoiled me, Mike. Now I can't fall asleep until I'm listening to a horror babble. It's great. Horror Babble's great. There's other really great channels, you know. Freak Out, man. It's the mothers. It's the mothers of invention. Wayne Butler. Good Lord, man. Zappa's first LP, you are correct. My good man, I am one of us. Let's see what we got here. Weird number 1, 1966. Eerie publications. They were totally insane. Myron Foss was a nut. Creepy number 1 at 1960. No, I think that was earlier. That was earlier. I think it was 1965. Apex. Wasn't it? Oh, fuck. Where the hell's the date? Oh, 1964. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1964. So basically, they were scrambling. You know, they were battling Myron Foss. Warren was faster. Got Eerie out. Yeah, but that was the whole thing. He had done Creepy. The thing about Eerie, I think Eerie was like when they did that Ash Can, that was 65, correct? 1966. Yeah, right. So that was the whole battle between Warren and Myron Foss was 1960, end of 65, beginning of 1966. Warren won. They released the Ash Can first. They got the name Eerie. Then Myron Foss was like, okay, I'm just going to have eerie publications. And then he came out with Weird 1966 and all the other ones. 8-Bit says, I will download all those magazines tomorrow. If you need the info on a good free comics download site, let me know. Some Frazetta, I think his first take in the werewolf story, yeah. Yeah, well, they would cost that much in the 70s. They're not that much now. I mean, you can get ones in great shape for $80, $90 for issue number 1 of Creepy, maybe $100 max, you know, because there many more were made. It wasn't like pre-code horror comics, etc. They didn't burn them. Let's put it that way. Party Beach, man. Monster Kid, Classic Mag, Star-Studded Comics. No, I didn't see that on Tubi. Grass Green, Xeno the Human Cat. Yep, Star-Studded, good old Buddy Saunders, man. I hope you guys occasionally buy some stuff from my comic shop. Beautiful to see. I have a thing for classic black and white comics and magazines. Oh. Oh, okay. One of those covers. Bat Boy from the trade publications. These applications, better than the lame stuff. It is better than the lame stuff they publish. Titan is doing a great job. Yeah, I agree with that 8-Bit. I think Titan is, as far as like taking a classic, property like Conan, I think Robert E. Howard would be overall pleased with the results from Titan Comics and, Savage Sword of Conan, the magazine, and Conan the Barbarian, generally speaking, especially when they have De La Torre doing the art. I mean, come on, he's the dude. He is the dude. Apex says, my comic shop is my number 1 online store. There you go. And they're great. They deliver, folks. They're always on time, well packaged. They, if you're buying a graded item that's not slabbed, typically speaking, it's right on. They know they're grading everything. I've never had a problem with them, mycomicshop.com, folks. That's what I'm talking about. My good fiends. Good Lord. Okay, now let's get on with the mighty Tubus, shall we? First, I got to find the Tubus. Oh, Tubus. Oh, there's the cue right there. All right. Now, let's see if this thing is set up correctly. It is. God dang, man. That's snappy. That is just snappy. We're on Tubi, folks, of course, naturally, because they just have like an insanely good selection of 60s, 70s, and 80s sci-fi and horror films. More so horror. But they do have a decent selection of sci-fi stuff and, of course, some fantasy stuff. But tonight it's all 60s. And we start off with a couple of what are considered definitely some of the greatest genre films of the 1960s. No doubt about that. The Haunting, I think, is considered to this day to be one of the great ghost stories made into film, realized in cinema of all time. Day of the Triffids, people love it. It's been adapted a few times. There is a more accurate I think it was a BBC 1981 series. It's on Canopy. I've seen it. I agree. It's more accurate to the novel. But the film is fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. I love what they did with the Triffids. The acting is great. The cinematography is generally top-notch. The production values in Day of the Triffids is just really quite amazing. Let's take a deeper look, shall we, for a second? 1963 sci-fi horror. There you go, folks, right there. That magic sci-fi horror emblem. And I totally agree. As it says, after a strange meteor shower leaves most of the population blind, a merchant navy officer must save humanity from attacks by violent plants. Okay? Or violent violet plants. That would be more weird. But in any case, directed by Steve Sakili, and it is one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites from the 1960s. I loved the film. I don't know if it would make a, necessarily make a top list of mine, but it's up there. It's just such a great freaking movie. There ain't no doubt about it. And of course, naturally, with Day of the Triffids, I do have a trailer. Check this out.
The Day of the Triffids, when terror rained from the sky. The Day of the Triffids, when the Earth orbits into a nightmare. When the solid world of everyday reality disintegrates. And the whole population is driven by fear towards insanity. The Day of the Triffids, when destruction closes in from every side.
Pilot, is he blind too?
Blind?
It's going to be starvation, fire, pestilence. Anyone caught in the middle of it doesn't stand a chance. I think we ought to get out of here and go on to Spain.
How can you know it's any better there?
I don't.
Doesn't seem to have any central nervous system.
Then how does it move?
All plants move. They don't usually pull themselves out of the ground and chase you.
You have never been married?
No.
Why?
Guess I've never been in one spot long enough to get caught.
And now you are saddled with a family.
It might have its points.
The Day of the Triffids, when law and order are overwhelmed in an avalanche of terror.
That scene at the mansion is just fan-freaking-tastic. I also love the couple that are like, they're at the end of their relationship in the lighthouse, the scientists. And it's just like this claustrophobic atmosphere. And then, of course, the Triffids start attacking the lighthouse. And they're trying to figure out how to kill them and so forth. They're really great the way that they, have the people around the world, which is what it is. It's a worldwide thing. The thing about the 1981 series is that it concentrates, of course, in and around London, right? And the great thing about it is that it really brings home the horror of the blind people that are left, because that's most of the population is blind, right? They've looked at this event in the sky the previous night, they become blind. They wake up in the morning and they're totally blind. So you got these blind people, you got all of civilization is just completely shut down overnight. There's nothing running. They've got no services. Everything is total chaos. So imagine being a blind person amongst millions of blind people in a city. Not only are you the fright factor, the fear factor would be ultra high, but you've also got these Triffids that they just basically kill you and eat you. That's what really comes across very well in the 1981 series, that comes across less in the film. And so you've got these situations where it's the multi-layer aspect of the book and that 1981 series, when you have blind people who get into like these groups or hordes of blind people, and they try to capture people that can see. And they sometimes do. And they make them their slaves because they can see and they can help them. And it's just takes on a completely different type of level. I think that John Wyndham, who wrote the original novel, he saw all of these things, pan out in a situation where you had civilizational collapse. It could have been anything else. It was just happened to be these Triffids. And I think that's the great thing, the genius of that novel, the thing that makes it so freaking horrifying, and what makes the 1981 series, which is on Canopy, you can watch it for free on Canopy, folks. It's not on Tubi. Is just the way that is portrayed. I mean, it is pretty hardcore. It's great. It's great stuff. However, that being said, they had to make a 90-minute movie. And so you have Day of the Triffids, 1962, I believe that was. And it's freaking fantastic. Let me see something. Yeah, it's 1962. I just love it. I love the film. Highly recommend it. It is on Tubi. Once again, I think they do the Triffids really well. I think the Triffids in the 1981 series are actually more accurate because of the way that they strike people. You could see a Triffid like 10 or 15 feet away coming at you, and you're dead because it can strike at that range. Okay. And then it eats you. It proceeds to slowly devour you over a few days. It's just it's pretty horrifying. And they're a little different in the movie, but I think they did it, they did the effect well. We're talking about walking plants here, folks. Basically, moving plants. Highly recommended. The Haunting, another film that I cannot recommend enough. 1963. Another one based upon a novel, The Haunting of Hill House. I want to say that Shirley Jackson. Maybe somebody can corroborate that in the chat. But fantastic novel. Great adaptation. I mean, holy shit, man. The great thing about this one, and it's similar to The Innocents, which I highly recommend as well, if you ever get a chance. That is based upon the turn of the screw. I just can't remember the author. I don't know. In any case, The Innocents is fantastic. The Haunting, both incredible ghost stories. You never see anything. You never actually see anything. That is the amazing thing about The Haunting. And, well, The Innocents, there's a couple of things, but they're extremely minor. In The Haunting, you see nothing. You absolutely see nothing. And it is really quite intense in parts. As it says, 4 people spend the night in a mysterious New England mansion and find themselves trapped within its evil walls, where the dead are restless. Julie Harris, Claire Bloom, Richard Johnson, Russ Tamblyn, folks, in a film directed by Robert Weiss. The Haunting, highly recommended, and naturally, I've got a trailer for this one too. Check this out.
God, it knows I'm here.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
Now look, Doc, we're buddies, okay? But don't try to convert me.
I'm trying to prepare you. My name's Marquay, Dr. Marquay, a scientist interested in the supernatural. The unnatural, if you like. I came to Hill House to find the key to another world. Assisting me in this exploration of the unknown was Eleanor, Nell, who could look back into the past, and Theo, something of a witch, who could see into the future. This is Luke, who didn't believe in anything, until evil, patient and waiting, made him change his mind.
Stop it! God. God. Whose hand was I holding?
How many of us take seriously the things we cannot or do not want to understand, simply because we are afraid?
No, you're Paul! Did you hear me calling?
Oh, this house. You have to watch it every minute.
The Haunting was produced and directed by Robert Wise, brilliant producer of West Side Story. The stars consist of a cross-section of top talent in the world of entertainment. Julie Harris, Claire Bloom, Richard Johnson, Russ Tamblyn. What does it take to convince you that the dead do not always rest in peace? That some houses, like Hill House, are born bad?
Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommended. It's on Tubi, folks. If for some reason you haven't seen The Haunting, what the hell are you doing? Watch that film. It's really quite, if you like ghost stories, you are going to love The Haunting. I mean, it's just freaking top notch. Now, look, I had to put in Tomb of Torture into this lineup. I'm not quite sure why. It's also from 1963. It's nowhere near the scope of The Haunting or Day of the Triffids, but it's got some really rather interesting scenes in it. And it's kind of, there's some, how should I put this? There's some early 60s titillation going on. Let's put it that way with this flick. As it says, a woman is tormented by dreams that she is the reincarnation of a dead countess in this Gothic horror tale. And it's got some hot babes. And it's got some really hideous creatures in it. So, it's one of those types of dungeon films with the monster and the hapless babes and so forth. You might enjoy it. It's worth a look. Let's put it that way. Tomb of Torture, folks. Oh, God. Yeah. There we go. I don't know what the hell people, I'm not sure why people diss Devil Doll so much from 1964. It's, as they say, some new distributor put this cover out and they put 1964 horror schlocker. I don't consider it a schlocker at all. I think it's a genuinely good, creepy, freakish horror film with one of the best dolls I've ever seen in a film. You know, when you talk about animated dolls, this doll is just freaking, it's good. It's really well done and creepy. Let's put it that way. As it says, a ventriloquist and his doll perform a highly successful double act until the mysteriously animated dummy starts to defy his master's orders. There we go, right there, folks. And it is, it's one of those flicks you have got to see. If you like creepy doll flicks, and of course they're always popular, they're still putting them out today. This thing, as far as I'm concerned, beats the living hell out of films like Annabelle. Are you freaking kidding me? Devil Doll is where it's at, folks. I put it up there pretty much neck and neck with the Trilogy of Terror, the little doll sequence. It's great. It's very low budget, but so well done and original. There's an originality to this film. It's not just like, you know, oh yes, it's just this. It's like this. Oh, this magician brings this doll to life. No. It's got many more layers to it. It's very interesting. It's kind of like a mystery, a supernatural mystery. And I have a trailer for Devil Doll.
Berlin, 1948. Find me.
It sees. It kills on blood-chilling command by thought control.
Hugo, she said you were ugly. But somehow he's put a man's life into that doll.
Somehow, the malevolent mystery of the Devil Doll must be solved before more lives are lost to the monstrous power that manipulates it.
Look into it. So deep and rich and red and warm.
He's calling me, Mom. Please make him stop.
But there are no obvious answers, no mechanical tricks, nothing but sheer horror that grows and grows and explodes into violent, murderous action. You'll learn the dummy's sinister secret only at the very end of this most unusual suspense thriller. But for maximum shock, see it from the beginning. Devil Doll.
There we go, folks. A little Devil Doll trailer for you. Lovely. Love that film. Check it out. It is on Tubit and well worth it. I've seen it several times in my life. It's just one of those great low-budget horror films, you know, where they do a lot with little money. That's the thing about Devil Doll. Next up, we have to have Mario Bava back again with us in the 1960s. And this time it's with Kill Baby Kill from 1966. Good Lord. A Carpathian village is haunted by the ghost of a murderous little girl, prompting a coroner and a medical student to uncover her secrets. Good Lord. And here's the thing I got to say about Kill Baby Kill. It's Mario Bava. Thus, the cinematography, the direction is going to be really good. And it is in this film. And it's very atmospheric. It's not one of my favorite Bava films. Let's put it that way. But it's worth watching. There's no doubt about that. Look, if you like Mario Bava films, you know, Black Sunday and so forth, you're going to want to catch Kill Baby Kill because it does have some great scenes in it. And I love the cinematography. I just don't think it's one of his greatest flicks. But it's certainly worth checking out, folks. Prague Nights? Anyone? You probably never heard of Prague Nights from 1969 before. Horror comedy from Czechoslovakia. The long-lost 1960s Czech horror anthology film containing 4 stories filled with magic, giant golems, and satanic visitors. Oh, yes. That's what we're talking about, folks. And it is a weird one. Okay? It's weird and wild. And I do recommend it. I recommend that you watch it once anyways and see what you think. The giant golem is really cool. I really dig that a lot. Some of the stuff is definitely hit and miss. There's no doubt. I do like the cinematography. Once again, it's really well done. You can tell they put a bit of money into this film, this Czech film, Prague Nights, and I do recommend it. And the great thing is that amazingly, after being lost, I think it was lost for decades, somebody restored it. A company restored it. They released it, and it is now on Tubi. Believe it or not, just hard to believe some of the films that Tubi gets. That is just totally insane. Good Lord. All right. Woo, doggy. Look at that lineup. Holy Toledo. But let's get back to the chat for a second, shall we? Shall we? My good fiends and freaks. Ah, there we go. I'm seeing Triffids talk. Eight-Bit says, I have a history with Dave Triffids. Bought the book 1975. Mom let me watch the movie on TV at the age of 7. Yeah, that's the kind of film that it definitely is intense. And I remember being scared shitless when I was a kid watching that film. It just has an impact, when you're a kid. It really works. It really works. Triffids British Space Dessert Recipe. Dessert recipe. Is that what you said? Or desert? Oh, dessert recipe. Okay. Eric, are those truffles in your garden? No, they're Triffids. Okay, that's weird. It's a weird one. 1981, first shown on your birthday, September 5th, 1981. It's a good one. PBR Street Gang is here. Hello, PBR. Good to see you. It's worth seeing it. It's worth seeing the series, too. The original The Haunting is a classic. Indeed, it is. The Haunting of Hill House, the book, is great. Haunting deserves its reputation. Fantastic movie. Yep. Henry James, Turn of the Screw. Thank you. Dan Curtis version. Oh, right. The Dan. Yeah, the classic one, though, is the other one. Shit, I forget who the actress was. She's really quite good. I don't think that's on Tubi, but yeah, there's one version that's the best. Dave James says Hell House was written by Richard Matheson. No, that's Hell House, Dave James. Yes. Legend of Hell House, totally different thing. The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Thank you. Henry James, Turn of the Screw. PBR says, just saw Salem's Lot. Great movie, great read. Plus, if you read the prequel, Jerusalem's Lot. It's a 2 thumbs up Cthulhu Mythos short story. Weird. I prefer the original BBC television version. Yeah, it's just more accurate, and I think they get to the horror of what happens to humanity, millions of blind people and so forth. I think they just do a better job with that, and the Triffids are done very well too. Both movie and book, Day of the Triffids, and the series. PBR, you got to check out the 1981 BBC series. I believe it's on YouTube. It is also on Canopy. It is not on Tubi. Kill Baby Kill is a pretty good movie. I've seen it before. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth watching once. Let's put it that way. Quatermass in the Pit, 1958. It is freaking awesome. Man, that is such a great version. I think that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 3.5 hours, maybe even longer. And it is freaking awesome. I love that if that's the one I'm talking about, right? That's not the movie. There was the series, right? The TV show, which was in many parts, and it was long. I want to say it was like 3.5 hours long, and it is great. I love that Quatermass in the Pit. The movie's pretty good too. I mean, they trim a lot of stuff out. But Henry James, of course. Russ Tamblyn, War of the Gargantuous. Soul Survivor. There you go. Go-Go Dancer. There you go. Anyway, if Chucky was made in the 60s. Damn. Kevin Hellon is here. Hello, Kevin. Good to see you, my good man. We just downloaded that today along with a load of obscure kaiju. John Wyndham, you got it. Never heard of Prog Nights. It's on Tubas. It's on the Tuba Dabba Dubas. The Quatermass films are all great. They've got at least one Quatermass, maybe two on Tubi. I love them all. But Quatermass in the Pit and the other one, where the guy comes back, the astronaut comes back, mutates into a plant-type monster, whatever the hell it is. Great. The Chrysalids. The Midwich Cuckoos. Yeah, well, that was the Midwich Cuckoos was the Village of the Damned. Of course, if I'm not mistaken. And then the follow-up Children of the Damned. All right. Okay, guys. Once again, yeah, I'm going to hammer this tonight. Here, let me do this first. There we go. Okay. For those of you who've come in a little bit late. The hell do I do that? Oh, yeah. I guess. Let's take this over. I guess I have to stop it. Oh, there it is. All right. No? What the freaking hell? Oh, yeah, there it is. Very good. All right, guys. Yeah, so for people that have come in late, just a reminder, I have added the join button. Yes, you can actually join the Horror Mike Show, become a member. As it says here, join this channel, $2.99 a month. Of course, you can cancel at any time. There are loyalty badges. There are also custom emoji badges, which will increase as I get more members. It helps to, keep the channel and the live shows going, if you know what I mean. And I hope that you do. Photos and status updates, and of course, terror tier salutations. This is what happens with the joining the Horror Mike channel. And as I was telling people at the beginning of the show, photo and status updates. Of course, the weekend before Friday the 13th, when there was no live show, I was busy traveling around Florida. I've got 2 documentary films that are upcoming, and I think they're both going to be humdingers. So I will, although the documentaries, they're going to take months to edit and actually release, I am going to, for members, you will be able to see photos and short video clips in advance. So that's one thing as far as the photos and status updates. You'll know about that stuff firsthand. So there you go, folks. That is the old channel. Join the channel. Become a member and join the terror tier of the Horror Mike channel. That's what's going on with that. All right. Okay, folks. So let's get back to Tubi here. All right, what do we got? Oh, yeah, this is not a test. Folks, this is not a test. Okay? When we talk about nuclear, the terror of nuclear holocaust, this is not a test, especially right now. And this film is just great. It is very low budget, highly recommended. This is not a test. From 1962, as they call it, drama sci-fi. It's really a drama because it's basically, as it says here, a Cold War era drama about a highway patrolman relaying evacuation plans to motorists after word breaks out that a nuclear attack has hit the USA. Okay, so it's really well done in the sense that there are no special effects. It is just the reactions of a group of people that are caught up in this situation where they believe that a nuclear attack has happened. And it's grim. I mean, as it should be. You guys, look, if you've seen The Day After or Threads, well, this pretty much falls in line with those. This is a much earlier film, but this is that type of thing where, yeah, there's no way out. There's no happy ending. There is no winner. Okay, in a nuclear war, everybody's dead or wishes they would be. Okay, that's what's going on. And last but not least, folks, this is not a test. Moving on to more cheerful things. We have the Gorgon. Move on to the Gorgon, 1965. Starring Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and Richard Pascoe, directed by the one and only Terence Fisher. Oh, yes. In 20th century Europe, a Gorgon takes human form and destroys a small village by turning its citizens to stone. Who can stop this creature? Perhaps Peter Cushing? Well, you got to see the film to find out, folks, and you're going to want to see it. There ain't no doubt about it. The cinematography is outstanding. It's a creepy flick. There's some great atmospheric scenes in it. Of course, Christopher Lee is also good. Yeah, it's fantastic. Highly recommended. I would call it, it's one of those things where, yes, you've got Cushing and Lee in the Dracula films. That is true. And that's the big thing, right? But together, once again, in the Gorgon, they're fantastic, top of their game. And it's just great that Tubi's got it. It's another one of those flicks that I'm so glad that Tubi got a hold of it, And indeed, I've got a trailer for the Gorgon. Check this out.
It has been said that every legend and myth known to mankind is not entirely without some truth. It was here, under a full moon, in the little village of Van Dorf,
that an ancient legend suddenly terrifyingly came to life.
Doctor, you'll perform an autopsy.
On a body that's turned to stone?
Have you ever heard of Megara?
Megara?
It's said that when mortals looked upon her face, they were turned to stone.
Leave Vandorf before it's too late.
What is it you're afraid of?
I'm afraid for you.
Or of what I may discover, if I remain.
We want you out of this house, mister. Now.
For 2,000 years, Megara the Gorgon had kept her evil peace. But now this strange, unearthly creature returns to petrify every human being who crosses her path. Starring Peter Cushing as the Doctor. Did his strange talents direct him to medicine or murder? Christopher Lee as the Professor, confronted by a conspiracy of silence that paralyzed a village with terror.
Megara died 2,000 years ago. It's her spirit we're concerned with today. It's found a resting place in somebody.
Also starring Richard Pascoe, Barbara Shelley, Michael Goodliff. The terrifying realism of the Gorgon. She comes to life and brings death to all those who look upon her face.
Carla! I am waiting for Carla, Mr. Hines.
That is just some top-notch action. As I said before, the cinematography is beautiful. And the Gorgon, highly recommended. And it's on Tubi, folks. It's probably on a few other platforms, but you can get it on the tubas. Let's put it that way. Next up, it's Victor Buono. Yes, Victor Buono, my friends, in that queasy 60s film, The Strangler. Each of these girls suffer the most frightful crimes known to the human mind. And it's a queasy one. They even have to start off with a kind of a, I don't know, warning type of thing. Well, to make it kind of seem more official, because it's kind of a sick little flick. Let's put it that way. From 1964. As it says, an overweight lab technician with low self-esteem, brought on by his domineering mother, vents his rage by becoming a serial killer of female nurses. Now, the thing about Victor Buono, folks, is that I remember it. Every time I think of Victor Buono, I mean, the guy has been all over the place. He's one of those, he was huge, just a big actor in that period. But it was, I want to say, let's say mid 80s, right? Early 80s, maybe late 70s. The Evil, that film called The Evil, he's in it. I mean, he's in it in a different capacity for the most part. But Richard Crenna is also in it. And he is great. When Victor Buono appears in The Evil, I saw it in the theaters. It's one of those things that you remember. Let's put it that way, And I know I saw The Strangler. I know, I've seen the film. I saw it when I was a kid, probably in my teens, But it's one of those films. It's about a guy that, he strangles nurses. That's basically what's going on with that. So it's on Tubi. If you want to, kind of get creeped out. It's kind of a queasy little film. There's the Strangler. Christopher Lee pops up, of course, once again. He's all over the 60s. We know that, you know, and he's just fantastic. He's also very good in Castle of the Living Dead. It's not one of my favorite Lee vehicles, but it's good and it's worth watching, from 1964. Why is that? Hold on now. What happened? Strange. Should be showing Castle of the Living Dead on there. How odd. Hold on. Oh, good Lord. All right. I see what's happened. It's a horror show. That's what happened, folks. Good Lord. All right. Hopefully that's not going to play. There we go. That was strange. In any case, Castle of the Living Dead, Christopher Lee, 1964. In 19th century Italy, a theatrical troupe is invited to perform at the castle of a count with hidden motives surrounding a terrifying new potion. Also starring Donald Sutherland, folks, along with Christopher Lee. Directed by Warren Kiefer. And as I said before, it's shit. Oh, I see. That's what happened. All right. Damn. Oh, well. Here, let me remove this first. Good Lord, folks. I lost the cue. Oh, there it is. All right. There we go. However, Circus of Horrors, I remember watching this. I remember it vividly as a kid. No doubt about it. I don't know, 8, 9 years old. And then again in the 70s. Sometime in the 70s, you know, when I was 11 or 12, maybe 13, like young, right? And that was a film that definitely left an impression. Circus of Horrors, because basically it's, you know, it's one of those films where you've got the various performers doing their acts in a circus, and of course things go wrong and they die horribly. That's what's happening. And it just, when you're a kid, you watch this film and it's very well done, at least done well enough that it leaves an impression. From 1960, Circus of Horrors. As it says, a disgraced British plastic surgeon flees to France where he buys a circus and turns its post-op female stars into prisoners who must perform or die. Yes. And of course you have Anton Diffring as the evil jack-off plastic surgeon. Donald Pleasance is also in this film, directed by Sidney Hires, folks. And it's fantastic that they actually have this on Tubi. I love it. Once again, unexpected. They added it on Tubi, and it's just a great thing. Of course, naturally, I have got a trailer for Circus of Horrors for
you. If you are a murderer, a blackmailer, or a thief, with a face as ugly as sin, and a mind as distorted as the devil's, then this man, he might help you.
You could be beautiful if you would trust me.
Think twice before you join his circus of horrors. He'll change your face beyond recognition, but your soul he'll enslave for all time. Remember, he alone will know the secrets of your evil past, and never will he let you escape alive. Anton Diffry as Dr. Schüler, who rose to glory in a trail of blood. Erika Remberg as one of the girls whose face and fate he changed, but not her mind.
You can't frighten me. These others, they've been stupid, just plain stupid.
What others?
The late unlamented ones, who have died so suddenly and so strangely.
This is the little girl with the maimed face who was forever beholden to him.
I am beautiful.
Who grew from innocent childhood into trusting adolescence.
I would do nothing to hurt you. I owe you so much. I love you so much.
She was his one weakness. This maniac who first healed and then killed.
What just happened was an accident.
Every second is filled with unexpected danger and terror. As a doctor, a specialist in horror, uses his sinister skill to make a circus of criminals perform at his bidding.
All right, there you go, folks. That is Circus of Horrors. Highly recommended. It's a good flick. It is now on Tubi. You gotta check it out. Okay, this next one, I haven't seen the entire film. I must admit. I've seen various scenes from it. And, okay, it's the Playgirls and the Vampire. Now, when you hear that, you're like, okay, this is going to have some 1960s TNA value. Not really. You know, let's put it that way. It doesn't quite pay off in that respect, but it does have an exceedingly long description for some damn reason. As it says, a troupe of European exotic dancers and their piano player, led by a bumbling manager, stumble upon a castle after encountering a storm. The castle, inhabited by Count Gabor, his assistant, and a vampire, a little refuge for the traveling showgirls as they slowly fall under the spell of the undead demon. Vera, one of the reluctant dancers and the living doppelganger of the vampire's dead wife, who has been dead nearly 200 years, becomes the object of affection for both Count Gabor and the vampire. Oh, yes, of course. Hey, just rip a little Bram Stoker out of there and mix it up with some dancing hotties, and you've got Playgirls and the Vampire. But on to better stuff, folks. Better stuff. Check it out. It's Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. The fear of the year. Frenzied fright, freezing terror, screaming nightmare. Okay? It is Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. And I like this horror anthology film, generally speaking. I think the best segment is the one with Christopher Lee and Michael Goff and his sexy parties. No, he doesn't have sexy parties in Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, but he does get his hand removed, and that creates a rather horrifying and creepy scenario for Christopher Lee in that particular segment, which I think is the best one, okay? Directed by Freddie Francis. As it says, 5 passengers aboard a British train receive readings from a fortune teller, which predict the gruesome directions their lives will take. You've got Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Donald Sutherland is also in this flick. And some of the segments are weak. That's all there is to it. They don't really pan out. A couple of them do, and I think the best one is the one about the crawling hand. You know, it's one that when I was a kid, that scared the shit out of me. Crawling hand stories really got me. when I was a kid. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's just one of those things. It was a kind of a creepy type of concept. And that one really works very well. So on that basis, it's just overall, it's good. It's definitely worth watching. Peter Cushing is really great as the old man aboard the train. And he's basically reading these guys' futures. So Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, recommended if you haven't seen it. Next up, highly recommended, The Flesheaters. This is a film, folks. We got to go back to 1964. Keep in mind that the only person, in my opinion, who was doing, kind of graphic gore type stuff in the early 60s was Herschel Gordon Lewis. And his stuff really wasn't that good. It was kind of crap effects. That's all there is to it. In The Flesheaters, they're pretty damn good effects. Oh, yeah. The gore, the stuff that happens in this film, it's pretty damned effective. And I actually still have the one-sheet movie poster to this film, believe it or not. Somewhere. Probably in a box. But The Flesheaters, very low budget film. Martin Kozlek is in it. And a bunch of unknowns, directed by Jack Curtis. As it says, the water surrounding a desert island is very nippy, as a group of trapped travelers finds out when violent water creatures start eating them alive. The one great thing about this film is that I think what they did with such a low budget, especially with the cinematography, is outstanding. It's really quite cool to watch. Just all of look, if you don't have money with a film, if you don't have a lot of money for effects or, just a lot of production values, use your camera. Try to make some very interesting shots and sequences and so forth. And I think they do a fantastic job with The Flesheaters. Check out this 2-minute trailer.
It takes just 10 seconds for the Flesheaters to strip the last bit of flesh from any living thing.
Listen to those screams. They're eating him alive.
These things want flesh, any kind of flesh. And once they sense it, they'll eat their way through anything that comes between them and their meat.
They stood alone, surrounded by the most abominable threat ever faced by human beings.
Don't touch those things! I need bandages, strips of cloth, anything! Quickly!
One by one, half mad with terror, they turned upon each other.
You'll die first, Butcher! You'll die first!
You killed her!
Animal!
You will lie down in one of the contaminated areas and be our guinea pig.
What was the dread secret of this horror that was born out of science and madness?
That is one cool freaking movie. Folks, if you get a chance, watch The Flesheaters. It's very well shot. The cinematography, as I said before, is inventive. They do a lot with no budget. And it's just a really cool flick. And at times, I can imagine, especially for 1964, kind of shocking. Let's put it that way, because there's a couple of graphic gore scenes when the people are being basically eaten alive by this thing in the ocean. And it's very well done. So check it out. It is on Tubi. It's on various platforms. As a matter of fact, I think I saw it on YouTube as well. Next up, we switch to science fiction and Mission Stardust. This is a pretty cool flick. I highly recommend it. It's kind of weird, strange freaking movie from 1967, but it's got a lot of things going for it. Let's put it that way. Let's dive into this one, shall we? During their mission to mine radioactive material on the moon, a team of astronauts finds a super intelligent species armed with a band of killer robots. Yes, indeed. I believe this is an Italian flick, or at least that's the origin. But Lane Jeffries stars in this film, so I think it was a matter of, once again, they get a, foreign actor to come over and star in an Italian flick. And there's some babes. There are some freaking babes in Mission Stardust. Highly recommended. Kind of to a certain degree for that factor. I swear, man, you won't soon forget it. It is a PG film, so there's no TNA to speak of, but there's some really just amazing looking women in this film. So on that basis, and it's an interesting story, it holds your attention well enough for 90 minutes. Let's put it that way. And it really helps with the babes. Okay. It's going to bring that home there for you. Mission Stardust, now on Tubi. And I'm sure once again it is on YouTube. Probably Pluto. I wouldn't be surprised. This is 160 series they have on Tubi now, folks, and I think probably everybody has at least seen a few episodes. It's a series that you should watch the entirety of it because it's freaking fantastic. The Prisoner, of course, from 1968. And that's got one, it is one season. God, I keep thinking it's a 2-season thing, but it's not. It's, let me see here. Yeah, 17 episodes, which is fantastic, by the way. And it's just so wonderfully bizarre, so well done. The acting is, of course, it's Patrick McGowan as the lead character. After, as it says, after he resigns from his job, a secret agent is abducted and taken to what looks like an ideal village, except it is a really bizarre prison. Yeah, that's pretty much encapsulates The Prisoner, and it's just so great. It's wonderful. Highly recommended, folks. It is on Tubi. If you have not seen it, check it out. Just great. What I would call, I guess you would call it science fiction or speculative fiction type of thing, but so well done. And it's hilarious. It's grim. It's definitely suspenseful. There's no doubt about that. It's just everything about it. The acting is great. The scenes, the backgrounds, everything in this series just works magically. It's The Prisoner, after all. Highly recommended. Schlock, The Secret History of American Movies. I primarily recommend because of this cover of that hot chick. I don't know if anybody that's watching right now knows who this babe is, what movie that is. Is it an Italian film? Is it like The 10th Victim or something? I don't know. But she never appears. I watched this documentary. I never saw her in the doc. And the documentary's all right. It could have been, I don't know, better considering the material. The Secret History of American Movies, you know. But it's worth a watch, but this babe ain't in it, as far as I can tell. So there you go with that. It's a 2001 documentary. As it says, rare exploitation film clips and interviews offer a historical glimpse into the golden age of the drive-in theater when forbidden material was king. So there you go. That's schlock. The next film, Kiss Me Monster, that the cover, the key art here kind of grabbed my attention. And I was like, Kiss Me Monster, what the hell is this? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's another one of those films that Red Rocket Media got a hold of. And as they say, it's horror sci-fi. Of course, it is an international flick from 1970. Now, I had seen that it was maybe it was 1969 released, but released in 1970 in the U.S. I could have sworn it was a 1969 film. In any case, as they say, detective duo the Red Lips, those are those two chicks, are met with stiffs, Satanists, and sapphic sadists while pursuing a mad scientist with the secret formula for human clones. And of course, it was directed by none other than Jesus Franco. So it's a Spanish film, I'm pretty sure, with these two chicks, Janine Reynaud and Rosanna Yanni, in the leads role. And I'm assuming it's these two chicks right here that are on the cover. But yeah, so there you go. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say with this flick. It is rated R. So there's probably some TNA in it, I would imagine. It's got to be. There's got to be some payoff with that. So watch at your own discretion, folks. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Now, from many years ago, boy, do I remember Pyro as a kid. I have not seen it since. So it has been decades since I have seen this flick, but I do remember it. Pyro, The Thing Without a Face from 1964. I'm absolutely positive this was a Creature Features movie. You know, the Creature Features, when I was a kid, it would be like Saturday morning. I think they had a Saturday night show as well. But this was on it. There's no doubt about it. As it says, a brief but fiery affair turns a mild-mannered engineer into a disfigured, vengeance-driven monster when his mistress tries to destroy his family. There you go. I just remember the thing with the, well, monster. It's a guy who just gets burned, and he looks pretty hideous. And it just had an effect on me. You know, it's one of those things. I would imagine, I mean, I'm kind of debating whether I should watch it now, because I think I have a feeling it's probably going to be, it may be a steaming pile, but, and destroy my illusions of how good it was when I was a kid. But it is on Tubi, folks. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. Meanwhile, we are redeemed with one of the most savage, brutal films from the 1960s. There ain't no doubt about it. The Sadist. If you have not seen this, this is 1963, for Christ's sake. They put this film out. It was a shocker when it came out. No budget flick, man. Once again, they rely on very inventive cinematography. I think the casting was really good with this film. Arch Hall, his best role, no doubt about that, and he's very effective as the Sadist. So, in any case, as it says, 3 people on their way to a Dodger game pull over because of some car trouble and find themselves faced with a psychopath and his girlfriend. Man, a low-budget film from the early 60s, and there are a couple of really what would definitely be considered very shocking scenes in the early 60s, and it's still an intense film today. If you watch it, I saw it. It had been several years since I had seen it, but I watched it last year. It still holds up, folks. It's very effective. It's just got this grim, unflinching brutality about it that it's quite a film. It's really a remarkable 1960s film. Early 60s, late 60s, I don't care. It's just one of those films that I think people will talk about forever. The Sadist is way up there. And I hope I have a trailer. Yeah, I do have a short trailer for it. Check this out.
I have been hurt by others, and I will hurt them. I will make them suffer like I have suffered.
The words of a sadist, one of the most disruptive elements in human society. To have complete mastery over another, to make him a helpless object, to humiliate him, to enslave, to inflict moral insanity on the innocent. That is his objective, his twisted pleasure.
Excellent film. That isn't the greatest trailer. I think there may be another trailer out there. It just doesn't capture like the particular scenes and the way this guy treats these people, because it's just all like sound effects and music over various scenes. So not the greatest examples, but still highly recommended. It is on Tubi. I am sure that it's on YouTube as well and other platforms. And that brings us to 13 Ghosts, folks. Oh, yes. The original 13 Ghosts from 1960. The William Castle classic. Inside the turn-of-the-century mansion he inherited, a paleontologist and his family find themselves plagued by the ghost of its former owners. Oh, yes, Martin Milner is in this flick. Good Lord. Margaret Hamilton, of course, who you may recognize from Wizard of Oz, is also in this film. And It's just one hell of a flick. God, how many times did I see this as a kid? I don't know, but it definitely was very effective when I was a kid, and it still holds up as a lot of fun now. I've seen it many times since I've been older. Just watched it like last year, I believe, maybe 2 years ago, and it was still good, still really quite amusing, very entertaining. It's the William Castle effect. That's what we're talking about. He just had this great way of promoting a film with great gimmicks and making an entertaining flick. And 13 Ghosts is one of those films, folks. It's way up there. It's way up there in the 1960s. I don't know what you would call it. It is a ghost film, technically. Maybe put it in that. I mean, it's not a ghost film exactly like The Haunting or The Innocents. No, but it is very entertaining. Highly recommended. And of course, with 13 Ghosts, I have got one wicked trailer to show you.
Listen to William Castle, whom the Saturday Evening Post calls the master of movie horror.
Do you believe in ghosts? I do. And you will too. When you come to this theater and see my picture, 13 Ghosts. No more dictation today. When you see 13 Ghosts, you'll be given a supernatural viewer like this, which will enable you to penetrate for the first time into the spirit world. It will let you see all 13 of our weird, wonderful, and wildly assorted ghosts.
Now, brace yourself as we take you across the threshold of our haunted mansion, where there's a ghost for everyone in the family. Father, mother, sister, brother. You'll be scared stiff too when you see what they see. 13 ghosts, materializing in ectoplasmic color through the magic of Illusiono, the ghost viewer. The ghost of a lion in the basement. The ghost of a murderous cook in the kitchen.
Stop it! Stop it, I say!
The ghost who speaks through the lips of the living.
Death tonight. To one of you.
The evil ghost in the bedroom, fighting to take possession of this beautiful girl. You'll feel all the thrills and chills of seeing one ghost multiplied by the magic number 13.
Okay, there we go. Odd ending. That was an odd ending for that particular trailer. I don't know what the hell. But still a pretty damn cool trailer. And a very cool flick. 13 Ghosts. Highly recommended. Let's get back to the chat, shall we, and see what the hell is going on. Okay, there's Victor Buono. Yeah, Apex says, I remember Victor Buono in the Wild Wild West. Yes. There, Wild Wild West again. King Tut on Batman. Oh, that's right. Yes, he did. DeFring. Yes, he did. Agreed, Thomas. Circus of Horror is just, it hits it on many levels. It's a heck of a film. Highly recommended. Very well done, really. Playgirl The vampire is kind of hilarious, says Wayne Butler. Love Dr. Terror. Zsa Gabor was probably a vampire. I own a digital copy of the Flesheaters. I really like the Flesheaters, and when I watched it years ago, it holds up pretty well considering it's a big. Yeah, that's what I say. It's a very, very low budget film, folks, but they do a lot with the money. Every dollar goes on the screen. Graphic Man is here tonight. Hello, Graphic Man. Eric says, I was curious because that sounded familiar. She did play a vampire of sorts on Fantasy Island. Stephanie Beaton is with us. Hello, Stephanie. Sheet happens. Eric says, I was hoping there'd be babes in Mission Stardust given the poster. There are, Eric. Yeah, there's definitely some hotties. Yeah, Essie Person. Hot, hot, hot. There you go. There's a recommendation right there. The Prisoner is quite good. Danger Man. That giant white balloon, yes. Machete Maidens. Yep, the Filipino flicks, man. Sapphic Sadist, believe it or not. And what movie is that from? He does. He nails it. As far as I'm concerned, the best thing I've ever seen him in. You know, when you consider he was in like films like Ega, for Christ's sake. Oh my God. Am I dead yet? Is here. Hello, am I dead yet? Hey, Mike and everyone. Just stopping by for a little while. It's nearly 3 a.m. here in the UK. Bedtime soon. Good Lord. All right. Well, your timing is perfect because it's the end of the show. Am I dead yet? And of course, as is traditional, my good fiends, we always mosey on out with that great song by by the Starfires. Sorry, it's not by Linda, it's by the Starfires, Linda. And we will do that. Everyone have a great weekend. And I'll